actors or that are not married and they're doing this incredible?
Well, there's a myriad of things. So I think first of all, we have to go back to the writer. You are very well known for your teaching skills. Your students speak a whole lot about you.
Miss Nigeria competition.
I said, you know, let's pick them up, let's take them back to Nigeria, and let's teach them a different kind of job.
The beauty of a woman lies in her ability to multitask. A lot of times we wonder what is beneath the woman that makes her really special. Not that we don't, recognize the male folk within us, but we definitely believe that the woman is a special breed from God, which is why we have this lovely program, The Woman. Today I have joined me in the studio a very delectable personality, ever looking radiant, filled with a lot of strength that I personally admire. The former First Lady of Kogi State, in the person of Aisha, Audu, Emeje. You're welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much.
It's always wonderful to have a chat with you. And I try to follow you up for so long during your tenure and beautiful things you were doing. Well, maybe I get to have I wish this time will permit me to get to ask all the questions I've always wanted to ask. But let me begin by asking what stands out real great in my mind. What is your philosophy of life?
Thank you for having me. You look beautiful, and it gives me hope. Women have always come from a very disadvantaged point, and that is just because we see it that way. For me, the philosophy of life and all life holds is about hope. We're all prisoners of hope. And I grew up hoping, and though most of those dreams are coming true, you're permanently in prison if hope is the watchword.
Okay. You know, somebody was watching a film, I think Coming to America. It says this is Hollywood, where everybody comes in with a dream.
That's right.
And if some of them it works out, some of them it doesn't work out. But relevantly, it is what you put to place, how you stay focused, that the dreams, begin to work out for you as reality. Now I'm wondering, this philosophy of yours, beautiful, how has it been able to transcend beyond just being a dream to influence what you do or your activities in life?
It's been a journey. Like, you agree with me, I'm the struggling type. There are people who, even in comfort, like my late used to tell me, I've never seen one in so much comfort still struggling for so much. And he didn't get it. It was something in me that makes me believe that anything you want in life, you have to go for it. You have to get it. You have to earn it. I don't just believe that it's going to come naturally. I'm just not that type. So even in the most comfortable place where our parents and our families and love always want to place us, the struggle is always within me to hustle for more. I use the word hustle intentionally.
Why do you choose the word hustle?
Where we come from as women, as Africans and as women, is not a smooth ride at all. Even in the classroom, you must stand out for your instructor or peers to really give it to you. Even if you're good, you must chest it out.
Yeah. And
try to prove that I'm good, not because I'm a lady or because I have a face that will be appreciated, but because I know what I'm doing and I'm doing it good, better than you. And so I say it's a hustle, because you never, even when it's supposed to be just a ride, you have to jump to the front line.
Yes.
Most women would tell you, even though we come to that comfort zone in our husbands' homes and our family place, you still have to compete with the family. Somehow you still, it's not just a natural thing to be the first lady of the house or the first lady of your family or your husband's church or, the imam's house. No, there must be something about you that makes them want to give you their recognition.
Definitely, and you got quite a lot of it even when you were in the office as a first lady. We'll get to talk about that later. But I'm wondering, what are you doing with the labor room? It's been trending for a while. Talk to us about it.
Oh, I have a passion for youth development. For me, youth development, whether in the areas of sports or job creation, or simply just giving them knowledge or giving them that platform to hope and bring their dreams to reality. It's what I've found myself doing after leaving office. Before office, before becoming the wife of a governor and becoming a first lady, for me, it was more like making my own dreams come true. And I went through a tremendous phase. It was good when it could be good. There were no favors. People misunderstand you being accepted into the society as something that comes with being connected. We had to get relevant to get connected.
Yes.
We had to seek for space. Coming from the background that I was, my father was a other rank in the Navy, and he had gotten to that point where no more promotion, what you call a WO2 in the army, and in the Navy. He was a chief petty officer, so they call him chief. I grew up in the barracks, which was a plus for me, and I always wanted to be the best in sales. All of us kids that would try to sell, I wouldn't want to use the word arc so often anymore because there are other meanings, but we would trade for our parents before we go to school, and that formed part of what we were going to have welfare with through the period. Our fathers had basic salaries, but our mothers would support the home. And so for me, making sure my mother stood out was very important.
So you helped out a lot.
Oh yeah, I was always ready to sell anything, and today I can sell anything.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the link between that period and the labor room?
Now, we have young people that have made up their minds to promote the Nigerian youth. A group of young people 2 years back came together to put the labor room together, and I was called on board. I saw their passion and I went with it. The labor room hosted over 1,000 young children as ambassadors of the rebranding Nigeria. We have been working on grooming these ambassadors, seeing what rebirth would really bring Nigeria to. Luckily for us, after creating a few products here and there, working with the younger generations, giving them hope and dream to produce made in Nigerian goods, we thought we should come to a platform where the world would watch what a Nigerian youth really means. That the Nigerian youth is an abandonment of ideas. It's creative. I'm one, I came from that line. And that we can stop at nothing. And that we love each other, that the youths love each other, and they love Nigeria.
Definitely.
And that not a handful that have negative vices should be used to describe the entire populace, the youth population, which is very high. Over 75 million youth population should not be seen from what a few hundreds or thousands would do. And it's working out well in the labor room. Labor room are a group of youths that have emerged from states out of the rebirth, and they're governors, meaning that we're watching them to see the leadership style that they really dream should happen in their states. Right. We have youths there from 18 to 35, keeping it in the
youthful age.
Youthful age, yes,
lovely.
thank you.
That's lovely. I commend you on that. Now, I haven't been a first lady of a state, but definitely the first lady in my house. But you've been there. And a lot of times we wonder, what's the life of a first lady like? How was it like for you? You know, it's all prim and proper thing, coffee in bed, and stuff like that. Muscles coming.
Well, that's interesting to know. I hear a few presidents' daughters and children had to go back to school to finish in schools like in Tanzania and other places to learn how to be poor in order to govern or to impact the poor. But I can tell you that most first ladies that I've seen or I've met, we had the same background, a typical Nigerian background, where we were from the child of, you know, a common man. And talking about myself, for me, becoming a first lady was grace. I'd come to my peak in some sort. I was very young, but at the age of 19, I was already very rich. And I'd been around and I've done a lot of business and connected and contacted well. And so when I say grace, it was like God trying to take me to a level where finance or struggle might not get you, only marriage. And in my case, he was already a governor when we got married. There were like 3 of us at that time. Aisha, Audu, Aisha Lawal, and Pamfara's wife. So we had that little clique. And we went well with other first ladies that were single. We were like second wives, so we were like poison. I put it that way. It's sad, but we were not carried along in the mainstream and all that. Also, it was a struggle, like I always say, to even find our place. And in my own case, my late husband was very hardworking. He was in the sphere of the media. He was doing very well. And so it was difficult for me to hide away from doing very well.
Definitely.
He dressed very well. And so for me, I learned that. Because to be by him, I had to just be a replica or something that shows that his style is complemented. So I didn't go into major projects. I just did more of women stuff. And to be honest with you, it's a lot of work. So there was no tea on the bed.
There was no coffee in the morning.
And I told you, I just got married. So I have to be involved in the meals, what he's going to eat for lunch when it's my day. I had to make it special. I had to make my marriage work.
You mean governor's wife's cook?
Oh, I was cooking. I was cooking. I was in the kitchen. Anyone in government house cooking would tell you that I made his best meals, the coconut soup and others. I would make sure I do that. And I always wanted him to see me in the kitchen when he's coming on break, serving. I had to be married. That was a priority above being a first lady, because that was a phase that would come and pass.
Definitely.
And I didn't want to go with that face.
A lot of women, seem to be trending with what is happening at the moment, and we seem to forget the fact that at the end of the day, the family
is just a 4 years term,
yes,
or 8 years if you're
possibly.
Lucky. Thank you.
Right, now,
so there was no tea on the bed. It was me putting the tea on the table. Thank you.
It's good to know. So when I'm aspiring, I'll make sure that
yes,
I don't aspire too much.
That part of it has to come with it.
All right. Now, I really don't want to put you on a sad mood, but forgive me if I just have to ask this.
Yes,
the loss was a big one, not just for the family, for all of us. It came really hard. But I'm wondering, how are you coping, being his widow?
Wow. You know, when a young girl has a dream, for me he was everything. It was that mountain that I thought I couldn't ever, surpass. A lot of ladies would have wished that opportunity of being married to him, especially in office. And for me, that sacrifice of even allowing that to happen at that time when media was all about it, he had made the greatest sacrifice that I needed love to exhibit. And so it was something that I looked up to living with him forever. Unfortunately, transitions within the marriage and family concerns, like I said, was a struggle. And we had to stay apart for a bit for a while, for a bit, yes. I moved to America, settled into America, and the battles were still over me. A lot of misconceptions here and there, but I went through it, and we both understood one thing, that we were meant for each other. We wanted each other, no matter what came between. When a woman is quite exposed, or is lucky to be blessed by God, it's very difficult. And so the kids had to grow, and we had to keep trying to keep love as part of it with the children now. On trying to gain it back, at the grips of it, when the children will return, his words were very clear. My kids got to return home now. They were born in Government House, Kogi State. They have to come back there to stand by me. In his words, they need to give me my drugs when I need them. Trust. And that broke me, asking reasons why it wouldn't have been me. There's certainly a gap that, and I agreed to come back home with the kids in where I come from. It happened to the other families after us. Whether you're close with your husband or not, whether you're living together or not, when such a time comes, you would have to come back to do your duty as a wife at home or the mother of your children. Unfortunately for me, you can never wind back the hand of the clock. I take it very personal that as long as I live, Prince will live. He lives in me. He will be honored like the Tafa Baleros and the Nnamdi Azikiwes, because what he did for Kogi people, we're waiting. I'm from Kogi, I'm from Ayangba, the school which his predecessor, or should I say successor, yes, the present governor has offered to name the school
after him,
Prince Abubakar Audu University. And for me, there's nothing more important, because the truth is that school is right in front of my house. So even in my retirement, he has prepared to be in my face.
Right.
I would say to you that the world felt it. I know even the UN president, Kinmon, complained, why on that day? And that's a big question that only God can answer. But what I know is that the entire Kogites were moved and would do anything to immortalize him in their minds.
He's indeed a hero. One will be for a very long time. All right, the show is The Woman. I would want to lift this mood a little bit. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
It's The Woman, and it's always a pleasure to have you. We're still with Aisha, Audu, Emeje. You're welcome to the program. Even though I'm in your house,
thank you.
In your office, really.
That's right.
It's a lovely thing. I see lots and lots of award collection. I'm like, when am I going to have all this? It shows how much you've put into the society. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
And I recall sometime I read, I don't know if it's real, you were being pinpointed as going to be the deputy governor of Kogi State. I don't know what happened.
Oh my God! You're digging really deep. I guess as soon as we lost the prince of the Niger, it was necessary to come up with a support team that would stand by the anointed governor. I put it that way, because you know all the tussles that went on to before he emerged. And so from the family point of view, I think the political imbalance that came up was Falake at that time still struggling to be the deputy governor or the governor. So that position was left open. The party, APC, which produced the governor, wanted to move forward. The constitution also was not so clear. There was nothing predominantly written or that had taken place to say it should be the next runner-up. But for peace, I believe, because later on the constitution now would have favored Falake, but it's not retroactive. By the time all this took place, so much was around it, and the death of the prince. So they closed it with the belief that it was out of our hands. And so I believe my voice was clear that I could be a stand-up for the family at that point. But when the tussle was still on, to be with him or not to be with him, I couldn't win that. Of course, I had run for deputy governorship of that of course, I had run for gubernatorial election in Kogi State at my early days when I left for America. And so I didn't see it as something that I couldn't handle.
I'm going to actually talk about that, and then, are you thinking of coming back? You know?
Oh, no. The strength in which I did that was the same strength of the prince. It was out of some tussle within me to prove within the cadre. I always told you that to be even a first lady or a family, to be a first in a family is also a struggle. And so at one point, with all that was going on, too much going on, I had to prove that I was relevant, that I was important in my society, and I couldn't be pushed back or set aside, and I shouldn't be misinterpreted. That what a man can do, a woman can also do. The society doesn't really like that, but I knew also where we were politically, that we were not going to win anyway. No matter what we do.
They just needed to make that statement.
Make a statement that I was politically relevant to my family. Yes. And if they didn't see it, who else should see it? And so even by not being together, I could still pull a stunt. And I did.
What do you think, in your own opinion, it's the setback for women in really, taking the bull by the horn?
Right. A lot needs to be done. Women have to be confident. We need to keep building up the confidence of women. And I keep telling them that you can't do it without the men folks. Yeah. You can't. You can't just be bold on your own and not still... I'm not saying suck up to a man. I'm saying still ask a man to allow you the space. Nicely. They will. They did in my case. They've done in Tanzania and in Rwanda. They approved the policies to allow that 40–50% of women should be in the parliament. Nigerians have to come to that point. We women in Nigeria have to come to that point to humble ourselves enough to say, we need to step on you by your permission. There's a word I use. When they say women first, I say after men. I say it intentionally. Because no matter how nice it sounds, the truth is that you still need to do the excuse me to get in front.
Yeah, because energy-wise, we're not built the same. But you know what I tell the men? I'm not scared of a man being the head. No. I want to stay the neck, because as a neck, I tell the head where it should be.
Exactly.
So that's all.
If the head allows. It's very simple. Other women did it in Rwanda and Tanzania and even in South Africa, soliciting the men to allow them to become your partners. We've not done that enough. Our men are quite understanding. Their daughters are coming of age. Doctors, pilots. They now understand that if we could actually educate these girls to the highest level, we must create space for them. And then coming to think about it, most men rely on their daughters.
Exactly.
In most parts of the country, men have not started relying on their wives. But come to take it from where you come from the East, the men also rely on their wives. Once they see what you have, they would build you up for themselves. nation building should look at that too.
Okay. I keep wondering, someone with so much on her plate by way of work, how do you cope? Because I saw Abubakar, young Abubakar, he's so big. And I like the inscription. He said you can take the boy out of a village, but you can't take the village out of him. Shows that he's still grounded. And for me, that tells me you've done well as a mother. How do you, wrap that all together?
Not so easy though, because they're at very tender age. They're still growing. This is when they need parenthood. But luckily for us, the social media has helped a lot. You can monitor your child from anywhere now. You can monitor.
I don't want to hear that.
I love that because I can be there 24/7, but I want to be there 24/7. So when I look at my handset, I could watch and see what they're doing, even in school. So it's very important. But beyond that, is a very heavy tax, especially now that I'm fully a widow. When I say fully, there were times when we could support and look onto the supports, but now you have no choice. I won't call myself a single mom. I'll say a woman who have lost her husband and so no support from anywhere. But I'm working hard. I'm not giving up. I'm not one of those who just want anything to overpower me. I still carry the youth on me. The youth in Nigeria today are facing so much headache because nobody to run to. So I still make myself available. So I'm a mother not only to my kids, mother to the family, mother to the entire Nigerian youth. I'm the national patron of the National Youth Council of Nigeria. And so that just gives them window to me. But guess what? I'm also very proud that I could be able to just give my shoulder for everyone, my children, other people's kids, and the family to lie on.
I wouldn't want to wrap up this particular edition without, seeking to know. It's a lot of people, when I ask them this question, they say, oh, I'm too young. But I tell you, there's always something at the back of your mind. What would you want to be remembered for? What kind of legacy or footprint would you want to leave behind?
I already know that. I really want to be remembered as someone who is able to touch lives. And not just touching lives, but that through me, a generation was transformed. I want to be in a place where I can give everything that I own and have just to see that someone is going to be better than me. There's nothing greater than looking back and seeing that while you were aspiring, you were able to inspire others so that you'll be remembered permanently. Should I ever aspire? Should I ever retire? No. Thank you.
Thank you so much. May I have the golden honor of having a handshake?
Oh, no, come on. Thank you so much. And I will say to you that you've been doing so well with the women. And I want you to take it further. Just encourage them to love each other. And to be strong to serve. It doesn't matter what people say about you. It doesn't matter what people want you to feel. Look beyond that. As a mother, will you stop because someone is criticizing you?
Definitely not.
Thank you.
All right, I won't add any more to that. I'll see you again next week when we bring another exciting personality on the program, The Woman. My name remains Elizabeth Agwai. See you next time.
Flying doctors or that are not married and they're doing this incredible.
Well, there's a myriad of things. So I think first of all